Hi, and welcome to the Resilience Podcast. It's Brad Hook here, and today I'm joined by Ricardo Gonçalves, who is the manager of Future EcoSurf, a fellow B Corp. And I'm really interested to get to know a little bit more about the work you do, where you are, and what's important to you. So welcome, Ricardo.
Well, thank you so much, Brad. Thanks for the invitation. Thanks for having me so late at your place. So early.
This is the great thing about technology is that we're able to, we're probably on opposite sides of the world right now. Yeah, but connected by the ocean.
Yeah, so often I see the sun setting at my place, and I just remember Australia and New Zealand. I think at this time somebody's probably looking to the horizon and just seeing the sun rising. And let's see how the things go between this chat of ours. But it's a lot about connection, and it's so good that we are in such a different points of the planet, and the connection is so alive. And that's one of the main things I would say about what we're probably going to speak today. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. So, as many of our listeners know, Resilience Institute is proud to be B Corp pending. Soon we'll get full accreditation. Hopefully by the time you're listening to this podcast, Ricardo and I also have another connection, which is through surfing. And I'm sure we'll talk about some of that over the course of this episode. So perhaps we could start off with a little bit about your story, what led you to be where you are today, and a little bit about Future EcoSurf.
Okay, so at the moment I'm 44 years old. I come from Portugal. I live in the Algarve. At the moment, that is the southwestern point of Europe. I'm related with surf since my 15 years old. So it's been like almost 30 years of surf life. I became surf teacher very early, actually. It's an interesting story as well. Maybe I don't go right away for that, but it just turned out like many other things in life. It just came to my lap. And when I realized I was a surf coach when I was 19, somebody just pushed me to that, the father of a friend surfer of mine. So that was very early to become a surf teacher. And then I just practiced a little bit as a surf teacher very once in a while because I was doing my studies, university and so on. But later on in life, again, it just came to my lap, an opportunity to become a manager. That by that time, having half of the business that I own totally today, that is Future Eco Surf School. But it was just kind of meant to be. I came across another person that was in the process of leaving his old partner of business, and that was the exact moment that we met, and we kind of had a commitment between each other. We had a good vibe, and that's the reason I ended up to join his surf school. So I didn't founded Future Surfing School as it was named by then. The surf school is now going to be 25 years old next October, so it's 24 recently. And I joined 18 years ago. Okay, the school was founded by then by a professional surfer that was called Gustavo Gouveia. That was my ex-partner on the surf school, and he was a competitor. He was actually Portuguese champion in 2001. And so the surf school started as a surf school for local kids, and especially to train the local kids to go all the way until competition. And this was how it was originated, the surf school. Definitely not easy, financially speaking, to sustain a surf school like that. But my colleague was a professional surfer, so he had incoming from other places. So he managed to live kind of until I joined in, because that was the time that he also got retired. And when I got in, we finally started working with abroad people, with tourists. And that's a new process, a new life that Future Surfing School by then got. Recently, just before COVID, I was really keen on doing a change, and Future Eco Surf School started coming around my mind, because it was already by then maybe 15 years of doing this as a surf teacher and a surf manager, but I was getting really demotivated, and there was not much time. There was something missing, Brad. I can say that, right? So I was not going home with a big smile on my face. I was way happier when I was just a surf teacher. But when I became a surf manager, like full time, and the business grew up really good, we were really successful, but something was missing. And when I broke apart from my partner, it was actually just because I had a different project for the surf school, and he was also tired and didn't felt so energetic about this change, because it's always a big change, and that's the reason we are speaking about resilience as well. You really have to feel it that, okay, I'm ready to go. This is going to be a long way, but it's going to be worth in the end. And he was not, I was, and that's the reason in the end I just bought the surf school. Maybe the first story about resilience is that I bought it just 6 weeks before COVID first lockdown. So that's how lucky I was.
Timing.
But actually it was a blast. It really depends on the perspectives, Brad. But everybody was saying, oh, you were so unlucky. The other guy was so lucky. But you know what? That's my point of view and my way of living. And nothing is just a coincidence. You know, things happen in a specific moment of your life for a reason. You might not know it right away. And I don't want to get really holistic on this, because we don't have to complicate it. But if we all look to our lives and specific turning moments of our lives, we spoke before, and you've lived in so different places, you've traveled so much. There is no coincidence that you meet people on a certain moment, on a certain place, and your life just changed. And for Future Eco Surf School, it was exactly the same. So COVID actually came on the right moment. I know it doesn't look like, but it came on the right moment. So here I am, having the opportunity to tell the story to you.
So it's great, and I have heard from a few people that COVID gave them time to reflect and to decide on, you know, what is my purpose and what is my passion, and how can I reshape what I'm doing to align more with that. I'd love to hear. So where did the eco come from in terms of Future Surf?
So how can I say this? I think that actually there was a moment that I was so disappointed. I was just not happy. You know, things were going good, money was coming. People were really recognizing our work, but something was missing. And I really had to go and follow something that I'm passionate about, or else that will be a moment that you just sad. And, you know, after that, you can go for even worse things like, you know, getting depressed or getting sick. And that's definitely not the path that anybody wants to follow. So I tried to actually, to be honest, to find other things, because I'm also related with yoga and other kind of therapies. And I thought, okay, let's give up on this. I was way better surfer before I joined the surf school. I had way more free time, less things on my shoulders. This was a good adventure, but let's try something that really fulfills me. But again, like I said, life was always closing the other doors and always pointing me towards the surf school. And I can be a stubborn person, persistent one on the good days, but a stubborn one on the bad days. And I thought, okay, if this is not meant to go somewhere else, maybe I just have to do this in a different way and reinvent myself. And all the things that would came to me was kind of advising me, you have to keep on doing this, but you have to do it in a different way. We have a problem in Portugal, but I think this is all over the world. You can give me your feedback. Maybe New Zealand is still a paradise in that. But regarding the surf schools business, we have a situation regarding the space we have available, because we do have to share the beach with the other surf schools. We have to share the beach with the free surfers. We have to share the beach with people that are just swimmers by summertime. Even with the guys that have business like umbrellas and other kind of water sports. So in the end, if you go to a good surf spot, the beach is not available just for you. You have to share it with so many other people. So you have what we call conflict of interest. And this is a big thing, you know, then, you know, people can be, you know, less humble or more egocentric, and the vibe goes really down. And you are related with surf for such a long time. So for sure you have friends that are involved. You probably have been in these situations before. And as a surfer, it's not something that was not the reason you started surfing.
Of course.
And for me, it's like I can even somehow be blamed indirectly, because I'm on the surf business, to create part of this chaos, if you can say that way. Organized chaos, obviously. It's all legislated, it's all legal, but just the vibe that is around the surf business, and even in the outside on the surfing on spots that are more crowded, it's not the surf vibe that we would like. Probably you heard sometimes we have tourists saying, oh, I didn't realize surfers were so territorial, or surfers were so,
Mm,
because I have this Beach Boys kind of feeling
mm,
that we are all playing guitar by the fireplace at the beach at Malibu, and we are just peace and love.
yeah,
And it should be. That's the way it should be. That's the way it kind of started, and it started so close to you in New Zealand with all this Polynesian heritage.
yeah,
But like so many things in life, we just progress to a place where people are just starving to have that peace of mind that
yeah,
surfing gives you. And if somebody's competing with you to take you that peace of mind, imagine that only moment you have to be good with yourself, good with your life. Obviously, you're going to make sure that you really reach it no matter what. Anyway, long story short, I had to do something to feel better with myself and to leave a positive footprint behind. Uh, Garbage and pollution was something that really always left me annoyed. You know, it's the kind of thing that really takes me out of serious. I see people throwing garbage to the floor or at the beach or doesn't matter where, and it really makes me feel
mm,
disappointed and sick. I really feel like uh, doing something about it. So this was a good opportunity as having a surf business. Why don't do something? And the other one, more selfish, is as a surf school manager, I need to make sure that I have the beach to work in the future. I live from the beach. I teach surf lessons. So if I don't have the beach, if I don't have the waves, how am I supposed to keep my business rolling for the next 10,
yeah,
20, 30 years? I'm not the kind of dramatic person. I'm a Sagittarian, so I'm a very optimistic person actually. But looking ahead, we do have to do something. We
yeah,
might not have the beach as we know it because it's not here as it was, as I remember 20 or 30 years ago. We probably have the same as we had the same age. So things are progressing in a way that we might lose the ocean as we know it. And in a selfish way, as I said before, as a manager, I need to make sure that the beach is there. Obviously, Future Eco Surfing School is way more than just my selfish
yeah.
manager instinct. But in the end, I do have to think that I need to do something to make sure that my business is going to happen in 20 years' time. And if I do nothing, I cannot complain because I knew about it and I did almost nothing to change it. And that's the short story of Future Eco Surf School. We do have to stop waiting for somebody else to do it, and let's just, like Gandhi said, be the change that we want to see in the world. So stop complaining, stop, pointing the finger, and just start doing whatever you can, and maybe somebody will follow, somebody will join, and things in the end turn out as you want. So yeah,
Mm.
that's the story of Future Eco Surf School.
It's great, and it really resonates in terms of you're doing something good for your business, but it goes beyond that. It's something that will benefit everyone, right? I'd love to hear a little bit about your process and story in terms of becoming a B Corp. Why was that important to you, and what did you learn through that process?
Okay, let's say this way. For us, the problem that I just pointed that was we don't have enough space. Just bring us to this as a business strategy. Say that we have to grab quality instead of quantity. So we do have to rise up our performance and of course the status that we have for people that are around us. That was
Mm-hmm.
always a thing that we had in mind. You have to give quality lessons in order for people to feel like coming or spread the word that we are worth to come and
Yeah,
to be the option that they would choose in the end. And to do that, we do have to have something behind beside us saying, these guys are good. These guys how do you say, are professional. They really are worth of your choice. And it has to be somebody that is neutral, that is demanding, that really, puts the thing really high. And B Corp was the perfect certification process that we found that could give us a neutral, independent, how do you say, certification about what we were trying to do. And we thank a lot B Corp. We recently got B Corp like maybe 4 months ago. So it took us around 1 year, maybe 14
yeah,
months. So it's a long thing. It's really worth it. It obliges you to do things that you always have in mind on your to-do list, but it always stays for tomorrow and the next day never comes. And as you have a deadline and as you want to achieve that certification, you really go for your homework. You really do what is necessary that they ask you to do, and you really want to do it, because most of the things, they really resonate with us, and many things that it didn't even cross my mind, but they just make the path really solid and really really solid. So it's just not like a nice utopic idea. It's something that you can put on your company and your daily life of your staff, and that in a short to medium term will have great results on the team, on the community that is around. So that was the reason we choose to be a B Corp. As soon as we had the idea of becoming an eco surf company, we had to have this certification, because this is going to oblige us first to do lots of things that other way will just keep on behind. And by the other side, in the end, we're going to have this certification that will allow people that are outside to say, if these guys had this certification, they did a lot and they probably are worth it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I really see B Corp as a practice rather than a certification, because it's how you do what you do. It's a way of being as an organization. And I think that's really important. Maybe you could share just some examples of how Future EcoSurf is supporting all stakeholders beyond just, the bottom line, which used to be the primary driver of business. What are some examples that you guys are doing in order to be a force for good?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think on my case regarding the surf school, it's not I'm the greatest around, but it's just to take your own way of living towards your business, and then everything is way more natural. Everything is effortless. And I'm from sociology, actually, as a degree in university. So for me, it was really easy to understand people beyond what was their behaviors that they show us on their daily life. So that was very always tempting for me to see the stories behind people and understand them, because sometimes people cross in our lives, but they have so much behind them that if we just have a chance to listen to them and to understand them, we're really gonna get way deeper on their story. Regarding the question you were making, I think in the community we're trying a lot to do with social work. So especially with adapted surf, that's something that we did a lot with autists, with Down syndrome, with more recently people that are deaf, people that are blind. So this is something that we regularly did for a long time, even becoming Eco Surf School. Like for 15 years we do that since I joined.
Really?
And that's a really rewarding work, as you probably can imagine. You get way more than you give, actually. So in the end of the day, you have to thank people that come to you instead of the other way around.
I love it.
And it's life stories that really touch you and give you that extra energy that you don't have on those lazy days, because they are so resilient. There are no barriers for them. Usually their slogan is, how do they say? There are no obstacles. If you just have the will, if you're not on your legs, you're going to be on your knees. If you're not on your knees, you're going to be on a prone, but you're just enjoying the ocean. Even if you're not seeing what you're doing, if you're not hearing what you're doing. And that's probably the most interesting thing that we give to the community, and we would like to give it more and more. And it's an amazing experience. That would be something. What more? The work that we do with the kids, even knowing that most of times are paid, sometimes it's not if people cannot afford it. So that's something that we want to keep on doing. On the future, we want to do this more professionally, like giving scholarships. How do you say?
Scholarships. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
People that can show that, because one thing is people that cannot afford it, so that we can work it out with their parents. Other thing is people that can afford it, but they have so good grades at school that they should be rewarded for. So that's something that we are trying to work on. We call it the smart surfer, and that's just to reward people that do the effort at school, because it's not because you're a surfer that you cannot, make your effort also at school and have a good path ahead. So that's something that we would like to go for. So this would be the plans that I have in mind for the surf school at the moment that I remember the most. Of course, beach cleaning, we do a lot. We started the project that on COVID, it kind of stopped, and we're going to restart. There's probably the one that I'm more passionate about. It's called Echo Kids. Echo Kids, it's a mix of surfing in the morning and afternoon gathering with things that they brought from the beach, and that they can work on. That can be shells, it can be little rocks, wherever, that they can do arts out of it, or just things that are polluting the beach or anything that is close by that they can also recycle and bring something. Eco Kids in the future will be kind of a school of environmental activism in a good way, I would say. Not a radical thing. Activism word, sometimes it's a little bit tough, but we would like to give the tools for the younger generations to know how to speak, how to approach people that take decisions. And this already take place in other things. I can even speak about an NGO that's called Tiny Whale in California. They have a great project that is called, if you have a chance after this to take a look, that is called Ocean Heroes. And the idea is just this, is to gather kids that already since a young age feel so tempted to protect their planet, to protect their nature, that we just want to give them the tools to empower them to go knocking on the right doors at the right moment with the right speech and say, hey guys, we're not going on the right direction. We need to do a change. This doesn't have to be radical. We don't have to change economy as we know it, but we do have to get aware of this and do a constructive change. And the new generation has to do that because they're going to be the next future very recently and in a short term. And we have to empower them. And that's what we call the Eco Kids, will be this, this school of giving the empowerment tools for them to keep on doing what we just starting somehow.
I love it. And it's such a nice contrast to what many kids do today, which is just sit connected to screens. The number of young people who don't explore, the outdoors it's really sad. So I think reconnecting them with nature, tactile experiences, making art, being outdoors, so important for mental health as well.
Yeah. Definitely.
What do you think of surf therapy?
Oh, that's great. Well, surf therapy, maybe you have two approaches. One will be the clinical one. Somebody that will make a diagnosis and say, well, Brad, you should take a friend that has a certain clinical situation and why don't you invite him to do a surf lesson at your local surf school? That will be like a clinical diagnosis, and the doctor will say, just follow this path, it might be worth it. We had not as a surf therapy, but as a surf treatment, you can say that way, people that have like breathing problems, slightly ones like asthma, sinusitis, rhinitis, and all these things, because cleaning on the ocean with the iodine, I think it's iodine, I don't know the word in English, but just cleans out your lungs, and it's really important. But that's a different thing. That's not a therapy. That would be a treatment, I would say. I think it works, definitely. People around the world are starting to do that. I would like the approach that is more subtle. I would like that, call it a little bit more holistic. It doesn't have to be definitely religious or whatever, but I like this analogy of a puzzle. Imagine that we are a big puzzle and we are all pieces of this big puzzle. And the moment you're finishing, I don't know if you're keen on doing puzzles. I was when I was really young. But at the moment that you're just filling up the puzzle, there is a moment that you understand, okay, I understand the big picture. Now I'm just missing a couple of pieces, but I can see the big picture. And then you understand. This just means that we are a big thing, the planet. And we are all in different parts of the world, filling in different pieces. If we get this conscious that we are together and that we cannot leave nobody behind, that's the only moment that will be totally fulfilled. Obviously, we don't have to meditate for the whole life and have this. It might be in your path of life or not. But I think that we really have to reconnect. And to do that, surfing can be really precious as a therapy. In a slight way. You don't have to give up on your business 9 to 5. Maybe it would be good that you have a little bit less hours of work. But what I mean, because when I say this, Brad, is because many people are resistant to change because they really feel that we have to collapse society as we know it. And I don't believe that. I believe there will be like a passage to a different lifestyle that is way healthier, way more respectful towards people and towards nature. And that's what B Corp is also about, as we spoke before. But we can do it in a smooth way without collapsing the whole world, economically speaking, and even culturally speaking. But to do that, we do have to reconnect with nature. And surfing can be that therapy that you were speaking about. It doesn't have to be a book that you follow, stage one, breathe in, breathe out, go to the ocean. But if you just have this, and that's what we really try to do on the surf lessons, is that maybe if you're in Switzerland and you don't have an ocean close by, or Austria, or any other inland country, the connection you have with surfing is actually beyond surfing, is the connection that you as human have with nature. You can have it at your local place if you just dive on your lake, if you just walk barefoot on the grass at your local park in Auckland, wherever you are. If you just have this time to switch off your technology for, even if it's just 15 minutes a day, close your eyes, walk barefoot, hear birds around, smell the smell of nature around you, this will automatically reconnect you to your inner wisdom, your inner vitality. This will bring you the intuition you need to take tough decisions in your life, to those turning points, and definitely will bring you back to this mental stability that in the end you will need it as a therapy. But if you have it daily as a practice, instead of just searching, zapping your favorite channels or just going for your social media, if you just have those 15 minutes to reconnect with nature, surfing would be great, but it can be something else. I'm pretty sure we'll be in a very better position as humanity, as citizens of this planet, I would say. So I do believe in surf therapy for sure. I do believe it more as a tool that is available for everybody and not only for people that are in a place that somebody will diagnose and say you need surf therapy. I don't know if I got myself clear, but
no, that's totally clear. And I love the fact that you mentioned you don't have to be surfing waves. You can go and sit outside and listen to a forest, or if you're near a mountain, go for a walk. It's really connection with nature and so much research points to that as being just incredible for our well-being, mental fitness, and so forth. It just occurred to me at the time of this recording, the G20 summit is happening in Bali. Imagine if all of those politicians were just taken for a surf lesson. There might be a slightly different outcome to, whatever they have in store for all of us. Another question for you. What does resilience mean to you? And maybe you could share a story of resilience from your own life or someone that you've seen. I'm always interested, how have you been resilient or seen resilience over the course of your life?
Yeah, actually, resilience as a word, at least here in Portugal, it's something that's quite new. It's not so. As the word we have many of the words for the same meaning, but I definitely agree with the meaning. It's just taking out of a challenging situation the best in order to even improve whatever happens. So resilience is about keeping on, persisting, don't giving up, and in the end, it's going to be a blast that you were faced with this challenging situation because it gave you the opportunity to find an extra strength that you probably didn't even know that you had. And I really get inspired by people. I think people and nature are really the best formula together. I travel the world and I see amazing things, and now we have also, like for example, now thinking about Qatar and the World Soccer Championship, and you see all these skyline, and you see, wow, amazing things that men do. Even the pyramids in a different, completely scenario so many thousand years ago. But when you get to a waterfall, when you get to a valley, when you get to the top of a mountain, when you just dive deep in the ocean, there is nothing that mankind does that can be comparable to what nature did or is doing. So this is just the inspired thing. So if you just keep on connected with that, there is no other way or no bigger obstacle that you cannot go through unless it's not meant to be. So if it's meant to be, you'll find it. It might take time. It might be tough. But in the end, you're going to be way stronger than you were before. So that's resilience for me. And I think we were still offline when we spoke about that. But maybe one of the stories I like regarding resilience, is that Future EcoSurf School just started before COVID, 6 weeks, like officially, because I bought the other 50% of the surf business 6 weeks before the COVID, the first lockdown. And everybody was saying, oh, you were such a bad luck, all the money you had and the one you didn't have and you asked for, now you just kind of, throw it away, at least for I don't know how much time. And how lucky is the other person to have sold it by that time. But the first news we had from COVID lockdown, and I remember this image, I think it was actually interesting. It was in Ukraine. I think it was close to Chernobyl, that or another big city, that animals were coming back to the cities. Maybe it was in Canada and I misunderstood. So like animals like deers and stuff, they were coming to cities like with, big buildings in the middle of roads that were completely empty. And these animals were coming back. And that was like the image I said, no way, this is going to be bad for me. Because what I'm trying to do with this turning point at my surf business is to reach people that are aware and conscious of how important it is that you are willing to pay more for a product that you can buy for less money, but you are just promoting somebody on the other side that is conscious of what they're doing. They're trying to leave a positive footprint behind. They're trying to have a zero waste policy, a carbon neutral strategy. And you are these kind of people that we're trying to reach. With COVID, like you said, they had time to stop and say, I'm not going in the direction that I would like to take my life. I have to stop doing autopilot, grab the wheel of my life and just turn into the direction I really felt and dreamt about. And COVID gave us that. And I think lots of digital nomads that we have today are kind of a result of these people that thought, I can still be useful for society, but I can be wherever in the world, working on the right moment. Because why are we 9 to 5 closed at home when everything that is, kind of, how do you say, that we can take the most out of nature, at least, is during daytime, and we just locked at home in between four walls.
Yes.
You just have to shift something because we can still be productive and just have more freedom of time to enjoy nature. So yeah, in the end, that's the best example. It turned out to be tough times. Obviously, we were locked down maybe in total in these 2 years, I think 5 or 6 months. So with no business, with 14 employers just waiting to be called. But we survived and we reached the people that we wanted. And we had time to work on our B Corp. We had time to work on our rebranding. So it was the perfect time. It gave us that time that some other way would probably not be so easy to find. And it was a positive thing. Yeah, resilience is definitely a blast, not an obstacle. And,
I think the way you described it's not just dealing with obstacles, but it's actually growing stronger as a result. And that's the key, because most people do grow stronger as a result of dealing with adversity. And I think that's what gives life meaning, to be honest. It's recognizing that you can overcome these obstacles. And as you progress through your journey, you can hopefully inspire others to do the same. I think that's the journey of life in many ways. That's the hero's journey. Yeah.
We're all heroes. In one way or the other, if we just accomplish our inner will, that is always that little voice that is saying, hey, Brad, take that way. I don't think it's this way. If we're just honest with ourselves and if we are brave enough, because it's easy to say, not so easy to do, because we have so much commitments towards life, society, family. It's very easy to say, I would dream this, but I think in the end, it's always about your awareness and being honest to yourself. Obviously, it takes time. It's a process. It just doesn't come from nothing. And there's lots of, I would say, noise nowadays. There's so much information that you have to switch off many of these outer voices that is trying to tell you where you should go, when in the end, the only person that knows where you should go is yourself. So you do have to find those 15 minutes we spoke, or that time to surf regularly. And that will be the right direction, wherever is that for you.
I love that idea. You've got to create the space to connect with yourself, because if you don't, what I hear from lots of people in workshops is they're waking up at 3 in the morning. It happens to all of us sometimes, but they're waking up at 3 in the morning. And that's when the brain tries to discover, who am I? What am I doing? Why am I so anxious? And that's not a nice cycle to be in. So rather be deliberate, create that space every day to connect with nature and connect with yourself at the same time. We are nature. There's a quote, you might know it, by Alan Watts, where he says, you're not born into this world, you're born of it. Just like an apple tree, apples, earth peoples, like you belong here.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And that's exactly true. It's just I think if you can put it in a simple way, I think the way to solve most of the problems in the world, it's actually to decomplicate our lives. And this would be, there was a moment that I think we should read less books, we should go to less workshops, we should do, it's less is more. In our society, in our Western world, maybe if you are still connected with your tribe, if you're still living in a small village in Africa or in South America, maybe that's not the case, because they still have that, it's somehow alive, and they are still learning from this ancestral wisdom that they still alive. Maybe they have obviously other wills, other dreams that they didn't accomplish yet that we did, but that's the beautiful thing about diversity and globalization, is to have the best of these two worlds. But for us Westerns, we do have to get this reconnection done, or else we're just going to miss a big part of the puzzle we spoke before. And then you're always like, life makes no sense. Why is always these things happen? Why does people are, these unfair situations that we see all over the world? So even politics, if they are just given opportunity, like you said, to go surfing, that would be something like I was just mentioning of decomplicating. In the end, you just wash away your thing. And in the end, what will be is what really always was there, as you said, that was what you were born with. And babies and animals have it so alive in them. There are so many interesting philosophies that just follow the natural behavior of animals and babies, because they are not filtered. They just go as it comes, and they just feel it from inside. And in the end, it just works perfectly because it's so natural. And we have to do that process again. We have to decomplicate our lives. And we can see that some people running away from big cities and finding their piece of land. Some others are living in communities. And for me, that's really good. And hopefully now we have people that are living to the countryside, but still keeping their works as digital nomads as we speak, because I really like the idea of, like we spoke before, not totally cut down the line we have. We don't have to be radical and just change economy completely. We can still have lives and just be more ethical, more respectful. So it's actually a subtle shift that will make all the difference. If you're good close to nature, if you're good living in a small place with a group of friends, great, but you can still be productive and you can still have profits. And this doesn't have to collapse economy. And I'm having this speech because lots of people might stay behind if we don't say this way, and this is accomplishable. Actually, this is what I'm trying to do with Future Eco Surf School, is proving that yes, you can be profitable. You don't have to be afraid of doing money. As a yoga person that I am, I have lots of people around me, and myself in the past was like, oh, no way, money, profits, no. This is where we got here. That was the reason why we reached this place. But let's just make it a positive thing. It doesn't have to be profits before people. Obviously not. We can have profits and still protect. We can have profits and still care about. We just have to find the strategy, the solutions. Something that is blocking this, I would say, it's the word in English. How do you say? I'm missing the word. Maybe you can help me, Brad. When you never get enough. You just want more and more. Greed.
Yeah.
So that's the problem. It's when people that are already well in life, they want to be rich, and when they want to be rich, they want to be millionaires. It's this ego lifestyle. Of course, it also happened because of all this noise, this pollution that is around us that give us ideas of you should have more. You should keep on being the best. You have to compete instead of cooperate. And this comes since the very early age when we go 6 years old to school, and you have to have great grades, be the best in class. So we do have to change a little bit this mindset since young age to make sure when we're adults, we're not competing to be the best guy in the office, but to cooperate as the best colleague in the office. Yeah. So
there's some really good, inspiring messages there. And I think you're right. The profit is not evil. The profit helps you influence others and invest wisely and be the change that you want to see, as you said, and honor all of those stakeholders in the ecosystem. I like to think of business almost as a jungle and as a place for everyone in this ecosystem. And ideally, hopefully, at some point, we move from just sustaining the ecosystem to that regenerating the ecosystem. So we leave it better than we found it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's some inspiring thoughts. What inspires you? Anyone in particular, or anything you would like to share?
Yeah, well, lots of people, particularly on their stories. Let's start with the one that is just looking to me. I'm looking beyond my laptop and I'm seeing a book that says, "Let My People Go Surfing." Is this familiar to you?
Very.
Okay, so this for people that are hearing it probably don't know about it. This is a book from the story of life. It's kind of a human resources Bible. It became spontaneously by the founder of Patagonia. So I would say sometimes I play around with my stuff and say our goal is to be the Portuguese Patagonia. That's what we're following. This is the best example of a business that is towards people and nature. So if I have to follow something, I would have to follow this mindset of Yvon Chouinard. And this is definitely, of course, there are good things and bad things, but the best example in the world, for my point of view, as a person that works with nature, is Patagonia. So this is the business to follow would be pretty much like this. And then people, normal, people that you don't even know about it. As a yoga person, I usually say the best yogis I met in life is actually people that don't practice yoga at all. They probably don't even know how to spell it, yoga. Sometimes they are fishermen. Sometimes they are people that didn't went to school and they work on the land. And you say, how come they are yogis? Because they live the yogi lifestyle daily without even knowing about it consciously. They are just yogis the way they treat the land. They speak with their neighbor. They take a look at the animals surrounding them. And this is my goal as a yoga teacher and as a yoga practitioner, this is where I want to reach. And you see lots of people doing amazing gymnastics, almost Cirque du Soleil, putting the leg behind the neck. And they might be great yogis, but it's not in here. They are not being spontaneously what they are trying to reach. I don't know if I got myself clear, but this is the people that I try to follow. Sometimes it's just my neighbor that is just amazing in love with his piece of land, or with fishing at the weekend by himself, because that's where he finds his therapy. So this is the kind of people that inspires me most of the time.
Wonderful. Yeah, that book, Let My People Go Surfing, I think it has changed the business world. And that's exactly the kinds of examples that we need. People like that, people like you, people like so many of these B Corps who are showing, and I think that's what we need, is just evidence that there is another path, that you can operate differently. And I love that idea. Being a yoga practitioner, I had a great session just before we started this call, and it just, it just, that is a place to disconnect from the noise and just connect to yourself and its environment. But you don't necessarily need to go to a yoga studio. You can just do it sitting outside on a sunny day.
Yeah, be complicated. Yeah, easy to say.
Easy to say, exactly. Hey, Ricardo, thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure we'll do this again. And it's been a real pleasure connecting. If anyone would like to connect with you, we'll list all of your contact details in the description below. Of course.
Personally, here or there, so it will be both scenarios will be great. So maybe in New Zealand, maybe in Portugal. And thanks for everyone that will listen to us. And I hope somehow this inspires you to do whatever you're meant to do. And we're here to support you, and we're here to be inspired as well. So I would love to have more about resilience and all the people that you've been taking in the past. So thank you for your work and also for the time that you spend on this project of yours.
Thank you so much, Ricardo. And thank you, everyone. If you're interested in finding out more, click on the links in the description. Until next time.
Thank you, Brad. Bye-bye. Thank you.